30 days ago, my blood pressure was 148/94. I was taking a daily ACE inhibitor that gave me a persistent dry cough, made me dizzy every time I stood up too fast, and depleted the potassium and magnesium my arteries needed to relax on their own. I decided to work with my doctor to try a 30-day natural protocol before renewing my prescription. Today, I am going to show you exactly what I did, what the science behind each intervention is, and what my blood pressure reads right now. But first, hold this question. If pharmaceutical blood pressure medications suppress the symptom while the underlying endothelial damage continues, what would happen if instead of suppressing the pressure, you repaired the pipeline that is causing it? I am Dr. Christine Rodriguez, and today I am going to give you the complete 30-day natural blood pressure protocol. The exact interventions, the exact science, and the exact results, so you can apply every element starting today. Now let me tell you exactly what happens inside your body when you follow this protocol for 30 days. 3 things change. And by the time I finish describing all 3, you will understand why this combination addresses blood pressure through mechanisms that no single pharmaceutical medication covers simultaneously. The first thing that changes is endothelial nitric oxide production restores, and the arterial dilation that blood pressure medication forces pharmacologically begins happening naturally again. After 45, eNOS activity declines from oxidative damage, magnesium deficiency, and loss of the dietary nitrate replenishing the backup nitric oxide pathway. 3 interventions restore this simultaneously. Magnesium glycinate, restoring the calmodulin eNOS cofactor, beet juice, providing dietary nitrate for the nitrite-nitric oxide backup pathway, and hibiscus delphinidin, activating eNOS through a third independent mechanism. Together, they restore nitric oxide from 3 directions simultaneously, producing arterial dilation the endothelium generates itself, rather than having forced by pharmaceutical override. Research in the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition found combined dietary nitrate and magnesium produced synergistic eNOS restoration greater than either intervention alone. The second thing that changes is arterial stiffness begins reversing. The structural rigidity that decades of AGE accumulation and collagen cross-linking have built into arterial walls begins reducing. Arterial stiffness is the primary driver of isolated systolic hypertension, the most common form in adults over 50, and the mechanism pharmaceutical antihypertensives never address. Ceylon cinnamon's type A procyanidins inhibit lysyl oxidase and break down arterial AGEs. Hibiscus delphinidin activates NRF2 antioxidant enzymes, reducing oxidative protein modification. And raisin tartaric acid adds direct ACE inhibitory activity alongside potassium and boron, supporting vascular smooth muscle. Research in the American Journal of Hypertension found combined anthocyanin, procyanidin, and dietary nitrate reduced pulse wave velocity, the gold standard for arterial stiffness, significantly more than any single intervention. The third thing that changes is sodium-potassium mineral balance begins correcting, and the kidney-level blood pressure regulation it determines starts working properly. When dietary sodium overwhelms potassium, as it does in virtually every adult over 45, kidneys retain sodium and water, blood volume rises, and pressure climbs. The protocol corrects this from 3 directions simultaneously. Soaked raisins deliver 749 milligrams of potassium per serving. Magnesium water restores the ATPase pump cofactor. Without magnesium, the sodium-potassium pump operates at reduced efficiency regardless of potassium intake. And hibiscus organic acids provide gentle natriuretic activity, promoting sodium excretion without depleting potassium the way pharmaceutical diuretics do. Research in the British Journal of Nutrition found combined potassium, magnesium, and organic acid intervention produced significantly greater reduction than potassium alone. 3 changes, 30 days, starting today. If you are serious about taking care of your health after 45, this video is for you. First, the 3 mechanisms your body responds to when you follow this protocol consistently for 30 days. Second, the exact daily protocol. Every intervention, every timing, every preparation. Third, the results. Real numbers, honest science, no exaggeration. Write everything down. Begin today. Every section builds on the one before it. Skip any part and you will miss the piece that makes everything else work. Here's what 30 days looks like. By day 3 to 5, magnesium begins displacing calcium from arterial smooth muscle channels. Blood pressure begins trending lower, and the cold extremities from poor peripheral circulation begin warming. By day 7 to 10, dietary nitrate from beet juice and hibiscus ACE inhibition accumulate. Morning readings trend 3 to 5 millimeters lower consistently. By day 14 to 20, arterial stiffness begins reducing as cinnamon procyanidins and hibiscus NRF2 activation work on the arterial wall structure. Pulse pressure narrows as the gap between systolic and diastolic improves. By day 30, the combined mineral balance correction, nitric oxide restoration, and structural arterial improvement are operating simultaneously. My result at day 30? 124/78, down from 148/94. A 24-point systolic reduction and a 16-point diastolic reduction. No medication, no side effects, no dry cough. Starting today. One important note before the protocol. This is not medical advice to stop your blood pressure medication without consulting your doctor. I worked with my physician throughout this 30 days, monitoring my readings daily and having a clear plan to restart medication if readings exceeded 160/100 at any point. If you are on blood pressure medication, share this protocol with your doctor and ask about a supervised trial. Do not stop medication without medical supervision. This is a protocol to discuss with your doctor, not to implement in secret. Now here's the exact protocol. Here is the complete 30-day natural blood pressure protocol. Every intervention, every timing, every preparation. The first intervention is the morning magnesium and beet nitric oxide activation, taken every morning on a completely empty stomach. Dissolve 200 milligrams of magnesium glycinate powder in 400 milliliters of room temperature water. Add a squeeze of fresh lemon juice and a pinch of natural sea salt. Drink this 30 minutes before eating anything. Immediately after, drink 150 milliliters of cold-pressed beet juice with no added sugar. The magnesium peaks in the bloodstream precisely during the morning cortisol-driven blood pressure surge, blocking calcium channels in arterial smooth muscle. The beet juice dietary nitrate converts via tongue bacteria to nitrite and then to nitric oxide, reaching peak blood flow effect 45 to 60 minutes later, which places the nitric oxide dilation peak at the morning blood pressure maximum. Do not use antibacterial mouthwash before this preparation. It destroys the tongue bacteria that convert nitrate to nitrite and eliminates the entire beet juice blood pressure benefit. 200 milligrams magnesium glycinate, lemon, sea salt, 150 milliliters cold-pressed beet juice. Empty stomach. Every morning. The second intervention is the midday Ceylon cinnamon protocol, added to the morning coffee or any warm drink. Add 1/4 teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon, never cassia, which contains hepatotoxic coumarin at daily doses, to coffee grounds before brewing. As established in the cinnamon video, cinnamaldehyde activates endothelial nitric oxide synthase through a separate pathway from the morning magnesium, providing a midday nitric oxide boost that sustains the morning intervention's arterial relaxation through the afternoon. On 3 days per week, add a half teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon to pre-activity coffee and include a pinch of raw cocoa powder and cayenne, the triple enos activation protocol that produces the most comprehensive midday vascular dilation from a morning beverage. 1/4 teaspoon Ceylon cinnamon in grounds, every day, never cassia. The third intervention is the evening hibiscus tea and soaked raisins protocol, taken every evening after dinner and every morning with the first meal. Hibiscus tea. Bring water to 90 degrees Celsius, never boiling, which destroys 30 to 40% of the ACE-inhibiting delphinidin. Steep 1 teaspoon of dried hibiscus sabdorifa flowers for 8 minutes. Add honey and lemon. Drink 30 minutes after dinner every evening. Soaked raisins. 20 seedless organic raisins soaked overnight, eaten every morning with the soaking water as the first food after the magnesium and beet juice. The tartaric acid in the soaking water adds a fourth ACE inhibitory mechanism on top of the hibiscus, magnesium, and beet interventions. All 4 blood pressure mechanisms active simultaneously every single day. Hibiscus tea every evening. Soaked raisins with soaking water every morning. Together, they address ACE inhibition, potassium balance, and natriuretic mineral support simultaneously. 2 additional practices made the difference between good results and the 24-point systolic reduction at day 30. The first was eliminating hidden sodium. Not table salt, but the sodium in packaged foods most people do not track. Canned soups, bread, cheese, and sauces routinely contain 400 to 800 milligrams of sodium per serving, enough to counteract a full morning raisin serving's potassium benefit. Keeping total daily sodium under 1,500 milligrams doubled the blood pressure response to every potassium intervention in this protocol. The second was 10 heel drops every morning, barefoot, on a hard floor. Impact loading stimulates osteocyte mechanosensing, releasing nitric oxide and prostaglandins from bone cells, a vasodilatory signal completely independent of the dietary nitric oxide pathways that amplifies every other intervention in the protocol. And here is the one surprising fact about my 30-day result that I want you to understand before you begin your own protocol. The 24-point systolic reduction I measured was not a gradual linear decline. Days 1 through 7 showed almost no change. The magnesium was replenishing intracellular stores that were severely depleted, producing no visible blood pressure movement yet. Days 8 through 14 showed a 6-point drop as magnesium reached functional threshold in arterial smooth muscle cells. Days 15 through 22 showed the biggest movement, a 12-point drop as the combined hibiscus ACE inhibition, cinnamon arterial wall remodeling, and raisin potassium balance accumulated to threshold simultaneously. Days 23 through 30 stabilized at the new lower reading. The biology is not linear. There is a loading phase where nothing visible happens, and a threshold phase where everything happens at once. Most people give up during days 1 through 7 because they see no change. Stay through day 14 before evaluating whether the protocol is working. The loading phase is real. The threshold effect is real. The results come after patience, not before it. Now let me explain exactly why this protocol works at the mitochondrial level and why pharmaceutical blood pressure medications never address the energy component that drives vascular aging after 45. Endothelial cells are among the most mitochondria-dense in the body, requiring continuous ATP for ion channels, nitric oxide synthase, and vascular tight junction maintenance. Chronic hypertension activates NADPH oxidase, producing superoxide that damages mitochondrial DNA and reduces electron transport chain activity. The vicious cycle established in the hibiscus script. Pharmaceutical antihypertensives reduce pressure, but never stop the mitochondrial damage pressure produces. This protocol addresses both simultaneously. Magnesium restores ATP synthase efficiency. Hibiscus delphinidin activates NRF2, upregulating MNSOD and glutathione peroxidase, neutralizing superoxide before it reaches mitochondrial DNA. Beet nitric oxide regulates cytochrome C oxidase in endothelial mitochondria, and raisin resveratrol activates SIRT1, triggering mitochondrial biogenesis. Research in free radical biology and medicine confirmed combined anthocyanin, nitric oxide, and magnesium produced significantly greater endothelial mitochondrial restoration than any single agent. Remember the question from the beginning. If pharmaceutical blood pressure medications suppress the symptom while the underlying endothelial damage continues, what would happen if instead of suppressing the pressure, you repaired the pipeline causing it? My answer at day 30 is a 24-point systolic reduction, restored peripheral circulation, no dry cough, no dizziness, and a resting heart rate that my doctor called the best she had seen in my charts in 5 years. The pipeline can be repaired. The endothelium can restore itself. The nitric oxide can return. 4 interventions, 30 days, 1 conversation with your doctor. The number that felt permanent was not permanent at all. Starting today, here is what you learned. The 30-day protocol produces 3 changes. Nitric oxide restores through magnesium enos cofactor, beet dietary nitrate, and hibiscus delphinidin activating 3 pathways simultaneously. Arterial stiffness reverses through cinnamon procyanidin lysyl oxidase inhibition and hibiscus NRF2 AGE reduction. And mineral balance corrects as raisin potassium, magnesium ATPase restoration, and hibiscus natriuretic acids work together without depleting minerals. Morning magnesium and beet juice. Midday Ceylon cinnamon in coffee. Evening hibiscus tea. Daily soaked raisins. Under 1,500 milligrams sodium. 10 morning heel drops. 30 days. Starting today. If this 30-day result gave you the evidence you needed to have a serious conversation with your doctor about a natural blood pressure trial, please hit that like button right now and subscribe. Every week, honest science, practical protocols, affordable solutions for people who are serious about their health after 45. Tell me in the comments, what is your current blood pressure reading, and how long have you been on medication? Drop your honest number below, because your answer helps another person over 45 understand that 148/94 is not a permanent sentence. It is a starting point. And 30 days from now, with this protocol and your doctor's supervision, your starting point can become your old number. 4 interventions. Under 1,500 milligrams sodium. 10 heel drops. Starting today. I will see you in the next one.